Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, looking at a list of nurses on his laptop. His mother, Mrs. Green, was getting weaker every week. She had trouble walking, remembering things, and eating. He tried taking care of her alone, but it was too hard. He needed help. That's when he found Sophia. Her photo showed a kind face. She had a clean record, soft voice, and many families had given her 5 stars. She was like an angel. One review said. Daniel smiled. Maybe this time, things would be okay. The next day, Sophia arrived at their small home with a warm smile and soft steps. She wore a light blue uniform and carried a small medical bag. "Hello, Mr. Daniel," she said gently. "And this must be Mrs. Green." Daniel watched as his mother looked up at her. Mrs. Green didn't say anything, but she gave a small nod. Sophia knelt beside her and gently held her hand. "Don't worry," she whispered. "I'm here to help." In the first week, everything seemed perfect. Sophia cooked light meals, gave medicine on time, and even cleaned the house. She spoke gently to Mrs. Green and kept her company during the day. Daniel finally felt some peace. At night, he would come home and ask, "How was your day, Mom?" Mrs. Green would just smile weakly or nod. She didn't talk much these days, and Daniel blamed it on the illness. But after a few days, he noticed something strange. One morning, he poured his mother her regular tea. She took a small sip and pushed it away. "It tastes strange," she said softly. Daniel tried it. It tasted fine to him. "Maybe your taste is changing," he said. But then it happened again and again. One night, Daniel came home early. Sophia was in the kitchen preparing tea for Mrs. Green. She didn't see Daniel standing by the door. He washed quietly. She took a small bottle from her pocket and added a few drops into the cup. Daniel stepped forward quickly. "What are you doing?" Sophia turned fast, a little surprised. Then she smiled. "Oh, just adding herbal drops for her nerves. Natural and safe. It helps her sleep." Daniel looked at the bottle. It had no label. He felt a small knot form in his stomach. Something didn't feel right. The next morning, he checked his mother's medicine box. The pills looked different. Some were the same color, but the shape had changed. "Did you change her medicine?" he asked Sophia. She shook her head. "No, I just gave what was there." "Maybe you picked a different brand." Daniel wasn't sure. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. He was tired, and everything had become a blur. But what he was sure about was his mother's health. She was getting worse. Her hands trembled more. Her voice was weaker. And her eyes looked distant, almost scared. 2 days later, Daniel took a photo of the pills and sent it to their doctor. The doctor replied, "This is not what I prescribed. Stop using it. Bring her in immediately." Daniel's heart dropped. He ran to the living room. "Mom, are you okay?" Mrs. Green opened her mouth but only managed to whisper, "Tired." Daniel turned to Sophia, who had just entered the room. "What pills are these? Why are they different?" Sophia looked calm. Too calm. She smiled. "Oh, I think there's some mistake. Maybe the pharmacy gave the wrong ones." Daniel didn't believe her. He didn't say anything more, but his eyes watched her closely now. He helped his mother into the car and drove straight to the clinic. That night, he sat by her hospital bed. The doctor said she would be okay but needed rest and blood tests. Something in her system was off. Daniel felt cold inside. His mother had been getting worse under the care of a nurse who smiled too much, stayed too quiet, and gave medicine with no labels. He pulled out his phone and opened the hidden camera app. He had placed a small camera in the living room 2 days ago, just in case. He clicked play. The video started, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Daniel sat alone in his room, staring at the video on his phone. The footage was quiet at first, just normal sounds of home. Then Sophia walked into the frame. She moved with care, always looking around. She didn't know there was a camera in the bookshelf. Daniel watched as she took out a small bottle from her pocket. She poured a few drops into the tea she was making. Then she crushed a pill in her hand and mixed it into some soup. Her face looked calm. Too calm. Not like someone helping the sick, but someone hiding something. His hands began to shake. He paused the video. Why is she doing this? He whispered to himself. He didn't have answers yet, but he had a feeling. Something was very wrong. The next morning, Daniel went to visit his mother at the hospital. She was awake but weak. She held his hand and whispered, "Don't let her back in." Daniel's heart broke. He nodded. "I won't. I promise." He went home alone. The house felt different now. Cold, quiet, empty. He sat down and watched more footage. Sophia was always careful. She cleaned everything she touched. She threw out bottles right away. She made calls while standing near the window, speaking in another language Daniel didn't understand. Then on the fourth video, he heard something. Sophia was on the phone, whispering. "It's almost done," she said. No, he still doesn't know. She's weaker every day. Daniel paused the video again. Who was she talking to? And what did she mean by "it's almost done"? That night, Daniel decided to check the trash bin. Most of it had been emptied, but deep at the bottom, he found something. A crumpled paper. It was part of a medical label. Half torn, but he could read a few words. Warning, not for use without doctor's advice. May cause confusion, weakness, or memory loss. His heart raced. Why would Sophia give this to his mom? He grabbed his phone and searched the words online. The medicine was real, but dangerous. It was used for patients with extreme pain, sometimes in cancer care. But in the wrong dose, it could make a person very sick, even seem like they had a different illness. Daniel sat back. Was Sophia trying to fake his mother's illness? Suddenly, he remembered something. 2 weeks ago, Sophia had said, "Your mother's condition is probably worse than you think. She might need a full-time nurse soon." At the time, he had nodded. But now he saw it differently. Was she creating the illness just to stay longer? Or was it something even worse? Daniel couldn't sleep that night. He replayed the video again. He zoomed in on Sophia's face. She smiled as she walked into the room, just like every other day. But now, that smile looked different. Fake. Cold. Dangerous. The next day, Daniel visited the hospital again. He sat with his mom. "Do you remember anything strange, Mom?" he asked. Mrs. Green nodded slowly. She watched me sleep every night. And once, I heard her say, "Almost there." Daniel's jaw tightened. This wasn't just a bad nurse. This was a plan. And he was going to find out the truth. Sophia returned to the house the next morning like nothing had happened. She smiled as she walked in, holding a small basket of fruit. "I thought Mrs. Green might like these," she said sweetly. Daniel stood at the doorway. His eyes were sharp, but his voice was calm. "She's still in the hospital. Doctors are running more tests." Sophia nodded. "I hope she feels better soon." But Daniel didn't smile back. He just watched her closely. Inside, everything looked normal. Sophia began to clean the living room, hum soft music, and prepare tea, just like always. But Daniel now knew it was all an act. He sat quietly in the kitchen, pretending to read a newspaper. From the corner of his eye, he saw Sophia making 2 cups of tea, one for herself and one for Daniel. She walked over and placed it in front of him. "Here, you must be tired. You haven't slept well." Daniel looked at the tea, then at her. "Thanks," he said, but he didn't drink it. Instead, he waited for her to leave the room. When she did, he took the cup and poured it into a glass jar. He would get it tested later. That evening, Daniel visited his mother again. She was resting but opened her eyes when she heard his voice. "Did you know she brought fruit today?" he asked. Mrs. Green looked scared. "Don't eat anything from her," she whispered. Please, Daniel. Something is wrong with her. He took her hand and nodded. I believe you now. I'm going to find out what she's really doing. The next day, Daniel acted normal around Sophia. He didn't ask questions. He didn't show fear. He smiled back when she smiled. But deep inside, he was watching every move. That afternoon, she left her bag in the living room while she cleaned the bathroom. Daniel quickly opened it. Inside, he found her wallet. It had an ID card, but it looked different than the one she had shown before. Different photo, different name. Claire Evans. He quickly took a photo of the card and placed it back. Just as he zipped the bag shut, Sophia came out. He turned and smiled. I was just looking for my phone. Sophia tilted her head. You seem tense today. Daniel laughed. Just tired. But Sophia's eyes were sharp now. She was watching him too. That night, Daniel sat in his car outside the pharmacy. He showed the photo of the pill to the man behind the counter. The man looked closely and said, This isn't over the counter. It's strong. Who gave this to your mom? Daniel replied, A nurse. The man frowned. Whoever gave this without a prescription, that's dangerous. Back at home, Daniel decided to check one more thing. He opened his laptop and searched for the name Claire Evans. It took only 5 minutes to find something shocking. Claire Evans had worked as a caregiver in another city, but 1 year ago, an old woman under her care had died suddenly. The case was closed. No proof of wrongdoing. But some people had asked questions. Daniel's chest tightened. Was Sophia actually Claire? Was she hiding her past? Just then, a text popped up on his phone. Unknown number. You're asking too many questions. Stop now. Daniel's hands froze. Who sent this? Was it her? He looked out the window. The street was empty. But for the first time, he felt truly afraid. This wasn't just about a nurse anymore. It was about a secret someone didn't want him to uncover. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He kept checking his phone. The strange message still sat on the screen. You're asking too many questions. Stop now. He tried calling the number. It didn't ring. It was already disconnected. Someone was watching him. Someone knew what he was doing. But who? Was it Sophia or someone else? The next morning, Daniel acted calm, just like before. Sophia arrived at the house and gave him her usual warm smile. Any news about your mother? She asked. She's doing better, Daniel lied. Sophia looked surprised for a second, but quickly smiled again. That's great. I'll make some tea. Daniel nodded but stayed alert. Every word she said felt fake now. He followed her into the kitchen, watched her every move. This time, she made only 1 cup, just for herself. After she left the room, Daniel checked the trash again. A small bottle was tucked under some paper towels. He pulled it out. Same medicine as before, dangerous and strong. He took photos of it. Then he drove to the police station. Inside, he met Officer Ray, a kind but serious man. Daniel explained everything. The camera footage, the medicine, the strange ID, and the message. Officer Ray leaned back in his chair. You did the right thing coming here. This nurse, if that's even her real name, needs to be investigated. Daniel asked, Can you arrest her? Not yet, the officer replied. But we'll dig into her past. Daniel nodded. He was scared, but determined. That night, Daniel came home and checked the hidden camera again. This time, something new appeared. Sophia, alone, stood in the living room, looking around. Then she walked up to the camera. She stared straight into it and smiled. Daniel froze. She knew. She had found the camera. And now, she was warning him. The next day, Sophia didn't come. No calls, no messages. Daniel was relieved, but also worried. Where did she go? Why disappear now? Then in the afternoon, the hospital called. "Your mother is asking for you," the nurse said. "She seems anxious." Daniel rushed there. Mrs. Green was awake but scared. "She came last night," she whispered. "Sophia was in my room. She said something terrible." Daniel leaned in. "What did she say?" "She said, 'He knows too much. I need to finish this soon.'" Daniel felt his heart drop. Sophia had been in the hospital. How? When? Why wasn't anyone stopping her? He ran to the nurse station. "Was anyone here last night?" "A woman, dark hair, about 30 years old." The nurse checked the list. Only staff were allowed in. No visitors. Daniel showed her a photo of Sophia. The nurse's eyes widened. She wore a white coat. "We thought she worked here. She said she came to check on a patient." Daniel's blood turned cold. Sophia had tricked the hospital too. She wasn't done. She was just getting started. That night, Daniel locked every door in the house. He sat with his laptop, sending every video and photo to the police. He typed one message to Officer Ray. "She's dangerous. She came to the hospital dressed as a nurse. Please stop her before it's too late." Then he waited in silence. The house was dark. And somewhere out there, Sophia was watching. The next morning, Daniel met Officer Ray again. He shared everything: new camera footage, hospital details, and the photo of Sophia's fake ID. Officer Ray looked serious. "We now know her real name is Claire Evans. She's not a nurse. She's been moving from city to city, working with sick old people, and always leaving just before something bad happens." Daniel's heart sank. "She's hurting people on purpose." The officer nodded. "We believe she's part of a bigger plan, maybe even for money. She makes the patient worse, then gains trust, and then disappears before anyone notices." Daniel clenched his fists. "She almost killed my mother." Officer Ray looked at him. "We need proof. One strong, final proof." Daniel took a deep breath. "Let's set a trap." That evening, Daniel went home and acted normal. He sent a message to Sophia's number. "You were right. I overreacted. Can we talk?" A few hours later, he got a reply. "Meet me tomorrow. I'll explain everything." The location she shared: a quiet park near the hospital. Daniel shared the plan with Officer Ray. "You'll be watching, right?" "We'll be there," the officer said. "Stay calm. Wear a mic. We need her to talk." The next day, Daniel sat on a bench in the park. His heart was beating fast. Hidden cameras were placed nearby. Officers sat in plain clothes at different spots. Sophia walked in slowly, dressed in black. She looked calm, like she had nothing to hide. She sat beside Daniel. "You wanted to talk?" she asked softly. Daniel looked at her. "Why are you doing this?" Sophia gave a sad smile. "Sometimes people just need to let go. Suffering is painful. I help them find peace." Daniel stared at her, shocked. "Are you saying you hurt them on purpose?" She shrugged. "Some families don't even visit. Some patients beg for rest. I only make it faster." Daniel whispered, "My mother never asked for that." Sophia leaned closer. "But you almost believed me. You trusted me. That's the beauty of it." Suddenly, 3 officers walked over. "Claire Evans, you're under arrest for attempted murder and impersonation," one of them said. Sophia stood up, her eyes wide. "What? You tricked me." Daniel stood slowly. "No, you tricked us all. But not anymore." She tried to run, but the officers stopped her. As they put handcuffs on her, she turned to Daniel. "You have no idea what's coming." Daniel stared at her. "I know enough. And now the world will know too." Later, back at the police station, Officer Ray smiled at Daniel. "Thanks to you, we stopped her. But we're going to check every city she's worked in. There might be more victims." Daniel nodded. "Just make sure she never hurts anyone again." That night, Daniel visited his mom in the hospital. She looked peaceful now, stronger than before. He sat beside her and said, She's gone. Mom, you're safe now. Mrs. Green smiled weakly. Thank you, Daniel. You saved my life. Daniel held her hand. I promised I would. But as he left the hospital and walked to his car, he noticed something strange. A woman sitting in a parked car, wearing a white coat. She stared at him through dark glasses, then drove away. Daniel's heart raced. Was it over? Or was there someone else? Daniel couldn't sleep again. His mother was safe now. Sophia, whose real name was Claire Evans, was in police custody. But something still felt wrong. Who was that woman in the car? Was she just a stranger, or part of something bigger? Daniel decided to go through Sophia's things one more time. Earlier, when police searched her room, they took her phone, her purse, and her fake documents. But there was one thing Daniel kept, a small old laptop Sophia had left behind when she moved in. It had a broken screen and a password. But Daniel knew someone who could help. He took the laptop to his friend Ryan, a tech guy who worked in it. Ryan looked at the laptop and smiled. Give me a few hours. That evening, Ryan called. Bro, you need to see this. Daniel rushed over. Ryan opened the laptop screen and showed Daniel a folder. It was hidden behind layers of fake programs. The folder name: EXIT Plan. Inside were dozens of documents. Fake nurse IDs, medical reports, photos of patients, a list of names, and dates. Daniel felt cold all over. Are these all the people she hurt? He asked. Ryan nodded slowly. There are at least 20 names here. Some of them are already dead. Some are missing. Daniel scrolled down and saw a file named Next Patient. He clicked it and froze. His mother's name was there, along with the words, soon, easy target, alone. Daniel rushed to the police station again. He met Officer Ray and handed over the laptop. This proves she planned it all, Daniel said. It wasn't just my mom. It's a pattern. Officer Ray looked at the files. This is enough to open a national investigation. She may not be working alone. Daniel looked up. You think others are involved? Ray nodded. That woman you saw near the hospital. Maybe she's her partner. Daniel clenched his jaw. Then we need to find her, before she finds someone else. The police contacted hospitals across the country. They warned staff about Sophia, her methods, and the signs to watch for. The news spread. Doctors, nurses, and families came forward with strange stories about a quiet nurse who disappeared suddenly. And in one hospital in another city, a similar face was seen again. The woman from the parked car. She called herself Nurse Lily, and she had just started working with an old man who had no family. Back in town, Daniel checked on his mother every day. Her strength was returning. Her smile was coming back. But Daniel knew this wasn't over. He stared at the laptop, still open on the table. One more file sat there, untouched. It was named Final Phase. He hesitated, then opened it. What he read made his blood run cold. Daniel stared at the screen. The file named Final Phase opened slowly. It was a long letter, written by Sophia, or Claire, or whatever her real name was. The letter wasn't just about his mom. It was about him. If you're reading this, it began, then I failed. But understand this, Daniel, I wasn't working alone. There are others. Many. Some already inside hospitals. Some already close to new families. Daniel's eyes widened. You were smart. Too smart. But the plan is bigger than one house. One mother. We don't just visit the weak. We choose them. And soon, you'll see why. The letter ended with one more sentence. This was never about just saving your mother. It was about waking you up. Daniel sat back, stunned. Waking him up. What did that mean? He copied the letter and sent it to Officer Ray. The reply came fast. We're already tracking new cases. This isn't just a crime. It's a system. 2 days later, Daniel and Officer Ray sat in front of a news camera. A reporter asked, "How did one man help uncover a hidden network of fake nurses harming patients across the country?" Ray answered, "Because he didn't stay silent. Daniel saw something, and he acted. And now lives are being saved." Daniel nodded quietly. He didn't feel like a hero. He just felt lucky his mom was still alive. As the story went viral, new families came forward. More names were found. More people were rescued just in time. And Claire, she sat in a cold jail cell, refusing to speak, her eyes full of secrets. One officer said she smiled every night before going to sleep, as if she still had something planned. One evening, Daniel walked into his mom's hospital room. She was reading the news on her tablet. She looked up at him. "Are we safe now, Daniel?" Daniel sat beside her and held her hand. "I don't know, Mom," he said honestly. "But now, at least we're ready." Outside the hospital, another woman in white walked past the window, a small smile on her face. She was new. No one knew her name, but her ID said Nurse Emily. And her next patient was already waiting. 2 weeks passed. Daniel's mother was finally home, getting stronger each day. But Daniel couldn't rest. He kept thinking about the last line in Sophia's message. "You'll see why." Why him? Why his mother? And what did waking up really mean? Daniel sat at his desk late at night, going through every file Sophia left behind. Then, he found something strange, a long string of numbers hidden inside the letter file. He copied it into a browser. Nothing. Then, he opened a hidden web browser Ryan had installed before. He pasted the code there, and a dark website appeared. The site was cold and simple. Just 2 words on the screen. "Welcome, operator." Daniel's hands trembled. A new page opened with a list of cities, hospitals, and something called status, active. Dozens of names, unknown nurse IDs, fake training papers, target ages. Some files even had photos. Old people, sick people, all over the country. He called Officer Ray immediately. "You were right," Daniel said. "It's not just a group. It's a system, like a secret organization." Ray asked for the link, but Daniel paused. "What if they're watching who logs in? I don't want to warn them." Ray thought for a moment. "Then meet me. Let's show this to the cybercrime team in person." At the station, experts worked quickly. One of them said, "This isn't just a scam. It's organized harm. They call themselves the Mercy Chain. They believe ending suffering is a mercy, even if the patient didn't ask." Daniel felt sick. "They're calling this help." The officer nodded. "They call themselves angels, but they're choosing who lives and who dies." Suddenly, an alert popped up. "New who operator logged in, Nurse Emily." The same name from outside his mother's window. Daniel froze. She's still active. They're still working. The cyber team traced the signal. A hospital just 2 towns away. They rushed into action. Back at the hospital, an elderly man named Mr. Thomas lay in bed, breathing weakly. A kind-looking nurse walked in, holding a tray. "Time for your specialty, sir," she said gently. But just before she reached him, the door burst open. Police stormed in. "Nurse Emily, step away from the patient." She turned, shocked, but didn't resist. Daniel stood behind the officers. He looked at her and said, "It's over." But she just smiled. "Not yet," she whispered. Later that night, Daniel opened the site again. A message had appeared at the top of the screen. One nurse stopped, but the chain never breaks. And beneath it, "Hello again, Daniel.